How we end a piece, or how we enter silence, is at least as important as how we enter sound, or how we begin a piece. One way of looking at this is that we can end a piece with the same technique we use to begin a piece. So if we begin a piece with an upbeat, an ictus point, and then a rebound, and that rebound is taking us to the next beat, we can end a piece the same way. Although maybe our upbeat can be a little less active. The idea is that it's sort of a toggle between going to sound and going to silence. So it would be something like this. Dum. 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 Notice that on the release, I do rebound. It's a common mistake to end a piece, da. And the problem with that is that it chokes off the sound. It visually chokes off the sound, but we want some resonance from that release. Physically, it can be uncomfortable and almost damaging to end da, da. There's a sense that it continues just a bit to explore the resonance of the hall, and we want to be as musical and as elegant as that. So, just as we begin a piece, there's an upbeat, there's a downbeat, and then there's a release from that. I mentioned earlier that that upbeat perhaps can be a little less active in the release. And what I mean by that is, we know that when we want to start a piece, we want there to be a sense of at the bottom, because that shows the tempo. For the release, we can still have that. We can go dum, or we can take a little bit of that away, dum, because we're not so worried about that click. But either way is effective. You can experiment for yourself. And then there's the issue of whether we use the left hand, the right hand, both of them, and any sort of variation works as long as we have those fundamental elements in place of the upbeat, the downbeat, and the rebound from it. So we can just use our left hand, we can just use our right hand, we can use both of them, we can use one of them in front of the other, one of the other one in front of the other. Notice how I'm often still breathing. Sometimes I'm not because I'm just about to talk, but I often release. And you think, why do we need the breath? There's no sound happening after the release. Why are we encouraging air intake? And it's not that we're encouraging air intake. We're just as when we begin a piece, we're encouraging that everyone's sense of pulse is synchronized. It's just another and perhaps more subtle way of showing that click on the bottom of the preparation so we know exactly where it is. So the breath can be used effectively on the release also. So what about the good old ending a piece this way? Well, at its core, it has the same three elements as when we're just going up and down. There's the preparation, there's the ictus point, and notice how the rebound is built in. That's what happens after the release. So this can be effective, although we don't always need to have this very large cut-off gesture. We can make it a little bit closer to our vertical by just adding a little bit of that circular gesture. So instead of up and down, we have this. And we can make it as flat or as exaggerated as we need to. I would encourage you not to use your left hand as we do this to show this choke-off gesture, unless there's something very specific, perhaps a consonant that we need to show. It just encourages choked-off sound, just like stopping without any rebound. One way to do this instead is have the palm up, and then as you release, just flip the palm down. And it shows a nice, a more subtle, musical, and elegant version of this or that. You don't have to do that. The palm can stay up the whole way through that, or the palm can stay down the whole way through it. But it's a little better than just... you can see how in something perhaps soft, we can just use our wrist almost exclusively to show a release. But there's still a sense of an upbeat, an ictus, and then a rebound from that. If we have those elements, the basic elements of a beat, especially an active beat, we can end a piece almost any way we want. It doesn't just have to be these variations. We can end it this way, or this way, or they all have an upbeat, a downbeat, and a rebound from that. So you can experiment with what works musically for this particular situation. And there's lots of variations, and part of it's a matter of getting in front of a mirror and auditioning them, saying, okay, does that have the effect that we're looking for? It feels good, but does it musically say what we're looking for? Does it end the piece? Does it enter silence the way the piece deserves to enter silence based on our score study of the piece? So, lots of variations on this, but make sure you practice that three-part upbeat, downbeat, and a rebound in order to end a piece.